Welcome to this episode of Dr. Kamini Rao's Masterclass. Acting is magical. Change your look and your attitude and you can be anyone, says Alicia Witt. In today's masterclass, let me take the pleasure to introduce the man popularly known as an actor with no failures by the critics themselves. Welcome to the show, Mr. Anant Nag.
Thank you.
His enormous contribution to Kannada cinema is astonishing. In his career spanning over 47 years, he has been part of more than 200 Kannada films together with Marathi, Tamil, Malayalam, Telugu and Hindi. Let's get started. Viewers, I'm sure you're going to love this episode. Welcome, Mr. Anant Nag. I am extremely delighted because I am a great fan of yours. You're one person who can just get up in the middle of the night, go on the stage, don any role and you're under the skin of that role. Is that a right thing to say? Or you think that you also prepare and come like everybody else?
Getting up in the middle of the night and going and performing is, it's good to think about it, but there's much more effort which goes into it in a sense. That's why as an actor I would study the script well and then mull over it for days, day in and day out for quite some time and then leave it to the spontaneity in my persona to bring it out in however it comes.
I just want to get back to your early days because I know you're a fantastic actor and I know that you really keep the audience glued, to the last scene in the cinema. But going back to your early days, I know you were born in Bombay, but you actually come from, the western coast of Karnataka and in the Kasaragod area. Tell me a little bit of your early days because you were into a whole lot of, Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata and Ramayana and everything, and people don't know that you are that serious in all that. Let's get back to your early days, and I understand that you came from one of the smaller towns and with a Konkani background, etc. How was your early days?
To go a little further back and then begin from there, my ancestors are from Kashmir, who migrated to and found a shelter in Karnataka, coastal
So
Karnataka.
is that the origin of the good looks that Anant Nag has?
When they came, they must have been speaking Kashmiri, but having come and settled down here, the local language of Konkani, Kannada and everything, so our surnames indicate our station in the sense from Uttara Kannada Jilla, that is from Karwar to up to Nileshwar, is the Karnataka coastline. And our ancestors settled there, and I somehow my mother happened to be in Mumbai when I was born. But again after that my parents were very connected to Anand Ashram, and a spiritual center in Kanchangarh. It's say Mangalore, then Kasaragod, then Kanchangarh, then Nileshwar. So in Kanchangarh there is this Anand Ashram, it's called Ram Nagar, started by Swami Ramdas and Mataji Krishnabai. And it's there that my first 6 years of my life was spent. And then it's a spiritual center, it's a very special one because there is no idol worship as such in that ashram. And we have all the photographs of all the saints of the world, who are worshipped there. And the Ramanam, Om Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram is the mantra there. And I'm sure I must have had a wonderful childhood there. That's how I sing bhajans in, say, Devarnama in Kannada, abhangs in Marathi, and bhajans in Hindi, etc. That was how I started. It must have started. Then my father, there is actually these people, my ancestors who settled down, they established mutts in Gokaran, Shirali, that is Chitrapur in Bhatkar, then in Mangalore and Mallapur, one place. So the Swami of that mutt, his name also happens to be coincidentally Swami Ananda Ashram. he happened to come to this Anand Ashram, spiritual center of Swami Ramdas, and where my father conducted Swamiji in the, say it's about a 50-acre ashram, and with a goshala and everything, and a canteen, etc., and a bhajan hall, and the samadhis of the earlier gurus and all. And he expressed to Swami Ramdas that I want such a man in my mutt as my secretary. And why don't you take him only? And so that's how my father, and then we went from this, so that is what was called South Kannada to North Kannada, and near Bhatkal, Shirali, Chitrapur, Mutt. In the next 6 years, I have travelled all along my whole, then next 6 years, in these 12 years, my territory as such was from Nileshwar to Karwar, and I studied in Chitrapur for a year, Shirali, and then for another year, then 2 years in Udupi and 4 years in Mangaluru.
How did you find shifting like this, friends and all this being different every year?
Yeah, I suppose, at that age you don't feel you get excited, I suppose. Youngsters like to travel here, be there, meet,
But what was the medium of instruction then?
Kannada.
Kannada only. So you studied throughout in Kannada?
Yes, up to 8th standard I studied in Kannada. But in the mutt, as I said, in the ashram bhajans and all, here I was taught the Ganapati Atharva Shirsha, then the Purusha Sukta, the Rudra, then the Mantra Pushpanjali, Ashtavidhana, etc., and then Bhagavad Gita. My father personally sat and taught me, made me learn all the 700 verses of the 18 chapters by heart. But subsequently, you cannot, it's very difficult when you are in those places. You can say, recite a chapter every day, or something that kind, but to sit and for 4 or 5 hours and recite the entire thing. So subsequently, when I was sent to Mumbai for education, from Kannada medium to St. Xavier's High School into English medium and all these, whatever I was taught was dropping off. And then I decided, I said I should specialize in some of them, and that's how today, daily, I recite some of those slokas and mantras and Bhagavad Gita, particularly chapter 7, chapter 12, 14, 15, 16.
So having gone through different schools, etc., so you came up to, say, for example, the 10th standard, and you have a very interesting anecdote to tell me, that getting into St. Xavier's School and from Kannada medium and then getting into an English medium school, that must have been a big shock for you.
Yeah, a very, very big shock indeed. It's firstly from small places like Shirali and Ramnagar, Anand Ashram and all, into, and where I grew up in, say, Udupi or Honavar, and suddenly to Mumbai and such a, I firstly found it difficult to cross the road also.
You wouldn't have seen so much of traffic.
Yeah, then St. Xavier's High School, here in the schools and all, we used to go without no shoes, no chappals also. Shoes were compulsory. So for a couple of months I used to carry the shoes in my hand and go to the school and wear it there. But from the shift from Kannada to English became a little difficult for me, because there it was only a language. Here the medium of instruction itself was English. So, but I had studied, like Kannada I knew, of course, and then I knew Sanskrit. I was good at Hindi, and also because of the border and all, I used to speak Marathi also. But English became difficult, and because I had passed in all languages, Marathi was compulsory, Hindi, and then I was good at Sanskrit also, and then mathematics also I was good. But the main subjects of, say, science, history, geography, etc., I failed. But in the 9th they said, okay, he has come from, the Mufassil, and let's promote him, and they promoted me. But 10th became more difficult, and I was detained in 10th for a second year, and that crushed my spirit, and I was not myself, and I felt all my classmates went on, and younger boys came to my class, and I used to feel ashamed that I have to sit here like this, and I was sitting on the last bench always, and And from there, for the second time when I was repeating, I started going to, I just happened to go to the nearby metro theatre. This was in what was the area in Mumbai called Dhobi Talao, and from there the metro theatre. And the Victoria terminus was also nearby. So I started by stealthily seeing films there, and they were all English films and that.
That was just what you needed.
Perhaps that, and then with whatever was taught in school and that English which started going over my ears and all, I somehow passed the 10th in the second year, then also SSC in the 11th year, then into college, into arts for 3 months, then say science for another couple of years. Then by then my father knew that I was not doing what I was supposed to be doing. So such a bright chap here, and what happened to you there, and all this kind of. And I never used to answer back, but I used to put my head down and stare and stare and stare. Then he said, look, if you want to study, what you do, what you others are doing, earn and learn. So you take up a job, and I took up a job in Union Bank of India. It started with as a part-time job. Then I joined morning college, then went to commerce. By then I had an offer to act in a play. I used to participate in skits and all in Shirali, in Honavar and all, but no plays as such really. But I got a chance to act in a play, and then a second one, and a third one. And in about 5 years I did some different roles, different characters, not always the main role. But I did some 50 different roles and gained some experience of acting. And I always looked up to the, what is called, the underacting of the English actors, not the little overdone Hindi films acting. And I kind of carved out my own style of acting, which is naturalistic and all, which I preferred. And from one thing led to the other, and after these 5 years in theatre, I got a chance in cinema, in a Kannada film called Sankalpa in 1973.
But you are very good in imitation as well.
Yes, but when you are acting in a
do
role,
you have any funny things that you can
imitate
here, so that you can sort of let us know, because it's very difficult to imitate, and that's an art in itself.
Yeah, in itself, but imitation is always you ape someone else.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in acting as such, you are assigned a role, and there are definite dialogues and there are definite lines laid out. So which is very different from imitation or mimicry or as they call it.
But in how do you find acting, say, for the stage and the cinema? Of course, in the stage you don't have a second chance or a second take or whatever it is, and so you just go and perform.
There it helped me because I shouldn't be saying it myself, but my memory was honed right from my childhood in the ashram bhajans and say in Devarnama, Abhangs and bhajans in Hindi, here by the mantras, slokas and all, which I had to learn by heart. So when I went on to the stage, I had this habit of learning dialogues by heart, and I was very pakka in my dialogues and expression. Not only my dialogues, I would learn by heart the whole play, even so other characters' dialogues as such. That it was a kind of a compulsive trait in me. And
very good. It's very difficult because many times I have always found that once it goes well with the first take, then the confidence level is high. Once it doesn't go, then you keep on repeating.
Yes, and then more than that, the freshness, the spontaneity goes.
Absolutely. And every time the director says take 2, take 3, your entire energies go down. I've seen this happen a lot.
The thing to do is to rehearse, mentally rehearse. Rehearse very well. You rehearse 50 times mentally, and physically only a couple of times rehearsals. Then your take comes excellent.
But are you more a director's man, or are you more a versatile actor who will tell the director what to do?
Normally I don't do that. I give it as a suggestion if at all I have something to say. But I have directed plays also. I have directed most of my plays. The first 25 I acted in with others. But latter 25, I myself directed the whole play and I acted in it also, and that way. But then when I came into cinema also, I did say 10, 15 films, and then by then Shankar, who had followed me on to the stage, he came to cinema and he wanted to more of a director. So I said, there is no point in being two brothers. We all both the brothers being in direction.
Absolutely. Now, as far as your younger brother, I think he was years younger than you.
6 years younger.
6 years younger than you. So, which means that he actually was not interested in films at that point of time. He wanted to go abroad.
Right.
But then, he, as you said, when you were rehearsing, he said, okay, come on now, brother, I'll hold this paper and I will ask you. So, somewhere along that line, and seeing your interest in, learning for that part, he also got interested. And so, when you left that for cinema, he was able to get some of the parts, is what you said.
He took it up. I started involving him also in my plays, which I directed, and we produced it ourselves. We were a group of 3 people, 2 others. One was a friend of mine, Anand, another was Ashok. So we called our groups the 3 A's group, and we founded a company, and we would perform plays, and I involved Shankar also in it and all. And then, but he was not keen, because at that time, his friends and his classmates and all, at that time the trend was to go abroad. So some went to Dubai, some went to Saudi Arabia, some to UK, US, Germany. Meanwhile, a film came, and then Girish wanted Shankar to act in it. He had seen in one of his plays in Mumbai. So Shankar declined. He says, no, I'm not interested in acting. I want to be, if at all I'll come and assist you as a director, I'll take up direction, but actually let me alone. My Anna is sending me abroad, and then I rang him up. I said, Sonny, he wants you. Otherwise, he's telling me, Girish Karnad is telling me, you do that role. And it doesn't, what he has selected you for, maybe he doesn't want me, otherwise he would have asked me. He did not. It means that he wants you. So do this one film. Do this one film. I promise you I'll send you abroad, wherever you want to go. And he came in and acted in that film. And he was very lucky. With that very first film, Ondanand Kaladalli, he won the best actor award at the center, at the Delhi center. And then films poured. 2 films, 3 films, within a year he had done 6, 7 films. Then I asked him, Sonny, you want to go abroad? He said, no.
So that means you identified the talent in him, isn't it? Because he's not the proverbial hero kind of face. Yet he was able to sort of get the mass appeal.
That is again because he had acted in plays. Theatre does wonders for you. It lays such foundation, then only it gives you a springboard, and you spring up.
Is it what that Film Institute and all does for everybody? Sort of.
One has to. We were not in a position to afford it.
Absolutely. But then it's somewhat similar. Maybe it's more organized in a film institute.
You know what they teach there? I think we got pragmatic or practical lessons here in theatre.
Here the public is going to
because
accept
I trained under, say, Venkat Rao Talgeri, R.D. Kamath, K.K. Suvarna, then Amol Palekar, and then Satyadev Dubey, and before which, only after that I got a film, and Satyadev Dubey, it was, who took me to Shan Benegal and got my first film in 74. Before that it was Girish, YNK, and G.V. Iyer who gave me Sankalpa.
Absolutely. Very, very big shots. Yes, I think, when you look at all this and you say that you were at the right place at the right time and things just click. And perhaps Shankar was very lucky to have you there, and the right break at the right time, and he didn't go abroad and he was able to get into films. But having said that, you went into the films with the idea of doing all kinds of films, or were you looking at only certain kinds of films? What was on your mind when you were wanting to act?
As I said, I admired the way the English actors or the American actors in English films acted, and I contrasted it with the actors in Hindi films and our language films. Here we are a little louder in our say, right from even our Uttar Kannada, Dakshin Kannada, which are famous for Bayalata and Tala Madala and Yakshagana and all. You see, it's a little, everything is overdone, little, because it's on stage also. Because you have to, the last man has to see you. But in cinema, when it's a long shot, the camera is away. Mid shot, a little near. And when it comes to a close up, you cannot lie to the camera.
Absolutely.
If you do, then you are not a good actor. If the people come to know that, they watch the close-ups, the expression in the eyes, the movement of the face, and the dialogue delivery and everything. If you miss a bit, they know that. Meaning he
they're
didn't do.
big critics, isn't it, the public?
Absolutely.
Earlier people would take anything, but today they've got so much of choice. They would be able to say.
It is they who
will
determine who is a poor actor, who is a okay actor, who is a good actor, who is a ham, and who is excellent. They know all it. They know it instinctively. Most of them may not be very literate or anything or knowledgeable as such, but they know it when something is good. They know it when it is not good.
That's true, but do you think that the audience in yesteryears, but of course the cinema itself was not as loud as it is today, because most of the time the music is more loud than the voice. Because when you hear somebody coming, just one boot coming first, and then that entire dramatization is more than the actual action.
Those times it was background music only to
Very
give
light.
effect,
Yes.
and there was more silent.
Absolutely.
There was more silence than sound.
No, the silence was a language in itself.
Silence lent dignity and grace to cinema. Now it is that loud music it is to bamboozle the audience into submission.
It actually confuses the audience, so much so that even the facial expressions get sort of drowned, and the public gets confused.
It's
very
distracting because when an actor is acting or an actress is acting, there is no background music. We are performing out of the orders of the director, and we deliver our dialogues, act out our expressions when in silent shots and all. There is no sound, but this is kind of interpolated later on.
So you will never know. But then the audience watching it becomes very difficult.
That's why that balance has to be found by the director, music director. They have to sit over.
Like for example, you see somebody dead, for example, and then the hero comes to find the body. There's more noise.
That is why even in Indian music or even Western music, in all music all over the world, and even in Arabic music and all, wonderful music also. There is first one single instrument which starts and gives a sound. Then others pick up, and then others pick up, and then others. And then it leads you to a crescendo.
Yeah, that crescendo
Here, the crescendo begins from
There's no descendo. There's only crescendo and crescendo. See, this is another thing that the music sometimes is misplaced. But also another thing that I've seen in this thing, that genre of kind of cinema that you did, we would like to see what happened next, because it would be even for our kind of age group, and it could be even for the junior age group. So we could sit and say there was a story, there was a beginning, there's an end, there's a family drama, and anything that you would like to sing. And then when you go back, there's a lesson learnt in that. There's a moral of the story. But this time when you go across to a film, there is no story. It begins somewhere, it ends somewhere.
Previously, a producer who is the real main man, the hero of a film is the producer really. He goes to a writer, meets a director, takes him there, or in combination they decide we have to do a film, so write a story, and he would sit on the script. And then when he writes, perhaps he would imagine that this actor could fit in this role, and that's the way. And then the music would be set up, and then the script, the music, then the casting. This way, so much attention, care was given to preparation of a script, and then slowly the process of the filmmaking as such would begin. But here now here is a hero. See, Anant Nag gives dates to such and such a producer. Hey, come on, make a film. Come on. So this is a direct contravention to that approach, when there was a lot of creativity.
But the thing is that people just push those scripts to you. Now, for you to decide, you've always given hits. In fact, you're one of these people, when they say Anant Nag, that name sells like hotcakes. There's no doubt about it in the Kannada industry.
Not
So
like
what is the secret of it?
It is the credibility of the man who will not, I mean, in the sense he has consistently performed in different roles.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that confidence the audience has in, say, me, over the years, over the last 4.5 decades.
Yeah, but then everyone doesn't give hits every time, however much of confidence you have. In fact, even when in a film...
So I too have...
No,
I have
correct.
no number of hits, yes, but I have also had failures.
But
I have always chosen, I always look for a different role from the earlier one. So that's why I have done, say, about 250 films. Then I have rejected some 25,000 scripts.
Which is really amazing, because you have so many scripts coming, which means to say that the stories are not up to the mark. But not many people will be rejecting like this.
Today at my age, now I am at 72 also, when the youngsters come and tell them, I tell them, look, this is not it, you have to reorient the whole thing, this is not well, this is not, may not sell. And then I have advised the producers also. Many producers also have come to me. I have told them, so, look, your script is not good. Don't invest so much and lose money. I mean, it is not just that, yes, if I act, you will give me money, but that's not the end of it. And I'm not looking for that kind of money. And I have turned away a number of producers also.
Yeah, but when you actually select a script, what is it in that script that really attracts you to it?
As an actor, I must have some good scenes where I can spontaneously perform, which will be attractive to the audience, which while performing it should appeal to me. If it doesn't appeal to me and I am being false about it, and I'm just doing it for money, then the audience also will not find that spontaneity in that role, in my performance. So I always look for some roles where I can perform, do something different from what I have done earlier.
So if you're sort of accepting to a film, how long does a film actually take?
I have done two very good, very satisfying films with Mr. Anant Rao. He sat on that script for over a year. Then he came to me. Then he took 1 year to do that film. And then the next one, he again made another film. He again sat for about 1.5 years. And he, Kabuludari, that also he took over a year to do it. It takes that much time.
No, but once the script is ready,
yes,
to shoot, how long does it take?
It depends. You can shoot at one time also. It depends on what the script demands. Suddenly you may have to go to, if it is one place, it's easier and simpler for the producer also. If the script demands that you visit 5 places or 10 places, you shoot at different places, then the cost will go up and the time, it will take more time. But in, say, earlier times, like Sankalpa film, we must have made it in about less than a month's time.
Yeah.
Ankur, Shambaringals, that we finished it in 40 days.
Okay.
The shooting part.
Yeah, that's
then
right.
The
other thing, post-production work will of course take this, which is good, because people say that you can do approximately 6 films in a year.
That's very important also, because the less the number of days you shoot and then you finish everything, you have to put in that much money. And then per day, it was into thousands per day. Now it is in lakhs, now it is in crores.
Absolutely.
So if the budget goes, the risk, of course cinema itself is kind of only people come who have a spirit of adventure. Of course there is glamour attraction, but also those who have a sense of gambling, want to gamble with also. So all these things are there behind cinema. And it may challenge some people to, I'll take the risk, come on.